Woman claims she saw minors dressed as Harajuku Barbies at Sean Diddy Combs' freak-off party.
Look, I don't think it's going to have a tremendous effect. The prosecution is going to call a number of alleged victims.
The parties I seen it, I knew that they were spiking drinks.
Victim number 3, as she's called, was set to testify against the music mogul.
What you got to say now? What you got to say now?
He pleads his innocence. The justice system will presumably work its way through.
You ain't got shit to say.
What if one of the music industry's biggest icons was hiding something far darker behind the flashing lights and private jets? What if a decade-long relationship was actually a carefully masked nightmare? As the courtroom drama surrounding Sean, Diddy Combs intensifies, jaw-dropping revelations have left the public stunned, and his own daughters walking out in silence. This isn't just another celebrity scandal. This is something much, much deeper. Diddy, once celebrated as a cultural architect, is now sitting under the fluorescent glow of a courtroom spotlight. And the allegations? They're not just tabloid gossip. They're documented, testified, and disturbingly visual. Cassie Ventura's story is more than just a headline. It's a chilling account of manipulation, surveillance, psychological abuse, and fear-based compliance. Her words have turned what once seemed like a glamorous relationship into a case study of coercive control. And this video will take you through every harrowing chapter. The moment was surreal. Cameras flashed, reporters leaned in, but it wasn't the media frenzy that turned heads. It was Diddy's own twin daughters, Jessie and Delilah, walking out of the courtroom without saying a word. Their faces said it all: shock, disappointment, and disbelief. It happened right after prosecutors revealed the existence of what they called freak-off tapes, graphic videos allegedly showing disturbing acts orchestrated by Combs himself. For a family used to red carpets and luxury, this was something they weren't prepared for. Their silent exit became the image of the day, and a haunting symbol of what was to come. Insiders close to the courtroom said the energy shifted the moment the footage was referenced. It wasn't just legal tension, it was emotional chaos. Diddy's daughters had shown public support for their father before, attending events and smiling for photos. But in that moment, the veneer cracked. Their departure wasn't staged or dramatic, it was quiet, which somehow made it even louder. That image of two daughters walking away from their father's scandal now lives rent-free in the public's mind, and it signaled something bigger, that even Diddy's inner circle was shaken. Then came the silence. Not from the audience, but from the sheer tension in the room. A visibly pregnant Cassie Ventura entered.
Video being assaulted by the rapper is pregnant. Here's Les.
Not as a pop star, but as the prosecution's star witness. She hadn't seen Diddy in over 6 years. Yet here she was, walking past the man she claimed controlled every part of her life, from her music career to her body. Her voice didn't shake. Her words didn't falter. She turned to the jury and began to speak. And what followed was a testimony so detailed, so raw, that it left even the most seasoned reporters speechless. She described years of psychological torment, where she felt less like a girlfriend and more like property. As she sat across from Combs, her composure was striking. She wasn't there to cry or sensationalize. She was there to tell the truth. Her delivery was calm, even when recounting the darkest moments. From the very beginning of their relationship, she said there were signs that what she believed was love was actually control. Control over her appearance, her schedule, her body, and eventually, her choices. What exactly is a freak-off? According to Cassie, it was Diddy's twisted invention, a term for private, choreographed sexual encounters that he demanded she participate in. These weren't just parties, they were productions. Cassie described how Diddy directed every moment, choosing her outfits from sex shops, controlling the lighting, even deciding how much baby oil she and others wore. It began with candles. It evolved into full studio setups. For Diddy, it was a performance. For Cassie, it was exploitation. And it wasn't just once. These sessions lasted for days, and they became a regular part of her life. She said the longest one lasted 4 days. During that time, she had no real sleep, no outside contact, and was under constant pressure to perform. She wasn't a participant. She was an object in a carefully scripted fantasy. Her movements were guided, her reactions observed, and everything, down to the placement of cameras, was allegedly controlled by Combs. It wasn't just about sex. It was about domination. Cassie revealed that her job even became helping to coordinate these events, booking travel for escorts, arranging their accommodations, and disguising the nature of the events through fake employment offers. It was a logistical operation masked as pleasure. Cassie didn't just recount the physical trauma. She revealed the emotional prison she lived in. She spoke about feeling disgusting, worthless, and afraid. She said she only agreed to these so-called freak-offs because she loved Diddy and wanted to please him. Sometimes she even looked forward to them, not because she enjoyed them, but because it was the only way she got to spend time alone with him. Her words weren't just testimony. They were a look into the psychological abuse she endured. Her youth, her dreams, and her vulnerability were weaponized against her. She admitted that there were times she told herself this was love, this was normal. That's how far the manipulation went. She said she started as a wide-eyed 19-year-old, enchanted by a music mogul. By the time she realized she was caught in a web, it was too late. Any sign of resistance was met with anger or withdrawal. She felt isolated, disconnected from family and friends, and surrounded only by people who worked for him or owed him. The freak-offs weren't just events, they were rituals of control, and she was made to believe that resisting meant losing everything. The defense didn't back down. They argued Cassie was more involved than she claimed. She found the escorts. She managed the logistics. She sent the payments. They tried to paint her not as a victim, but as a willing participant. But Cassie pushed back. She said everything she did out of fear. The jury now faces a complex question. Can someone be both a victim and a participant in their own exploitation? And what happens when love, fear, and survival become blurred beyond recognition? Defense attorneys emphasized Cassie's emails and text messages, claiming they showed consent and even enthusiasm. But the prosecution countered that context matters. One chilling exchange involved Cassie asking Diddy which pill to take from his designer bag of drugs. She wasn't making medical choices. She was asking for permission. The defense wanted the jury to see a manipulative woman. The prosecution painted a picture of a manipulated one. The truth likely lies somewhere in between, but which version will resonate with the jury? As word of Cassie's testimony spread, public reaction exploded. Social media lit up. Polls showed that over 80% of people believed she was a victim, not a partner. But opinions were divided. Some pointed to her involvement as complicity. Others said it only highlighted how deep the control ran. Commentators debated whether this was just another case of celebrity drama or a much-needed reckoning for one of the industry's most powerful men. Everyone had an opinion, but no one could deny the story had gripped the world. Across YouTube, podcasts, and TikTok, creators dissected every line of the testimony. Some speculated that Cassie might be paving the way for more women to come forward. Others worried that the public wouldn't care if no smoking gun emerged. What shocked people most wasn't the existence of the abuse. It was how long it allegedly lasted and how normalized it became. Diddy wasn't just accused of hurting someone. He was accused of creating a system where abuse was hidden in plain sight, protected by fame, money, and silence. And then came the whispers about Kim Porter, another former partner of Diddy, another woman whose life ended under strange circumstances. According to some reports, Kim had planned to reveal damaging secrets about Diddy shortly before her sudden passing. Officially, she died of pneumonia, but many, including close friends and former partners, don't believe it. Rumors of a rushed funeral, missing autopsy details, and tight security at the wake only deepened suspicions. Cassie's testimony reignited those questions, and suddenly, the trial wasn't just about Cassie, it was about a pattern. One former partner alleged that Kim had drafted a document detailing what she knew. That document was never found. Others claimed she was in perfect health days before her death. And the fact that she shared children with Diddy made it even more chilling. Was she silenced? Was her death a coincidence? No one is claiming proof. But in the court of public opinion, the timeline has raised eyebrows. And for those already doubting Diddy's innocence, this just added fuel to the fire. The legal system demands more than emotion. It needs proof, and that's where the challenge lies. Cassie's testimony is powerful, but did Diddy explicitly threaten her? Did he say, "Do this or else"? The tapes are disturbing, but do they prove coercion beyond a reasonable doubt? The defense argues, this was a toxic relationship, not a criminal enterprise. The prosecution says it was systemic abuse, coordinated and calculated, and the jury must decide where the truth lies. One verdict could change everything. It's not just about guilty or innocent. It's about whether the law can recognize manipulation that doesn't always come with bruises. Can you prosecute a pattern? Can you convict someone for creating an environment so oppressive, so emotionally suffocating, that their victims stop seeing a way out? That's the question this trial is really asking. And the answer could redefine how we understand consent, coercion, and control in high-profile relationships. From the moment Cassie stepped into the courtroom, the mainstream media locked its lenses on every detail. Outlets like CNN, NBC, and Rolling Stone weren't just reporting facts, they were dissecting her body language, the courtroom's silence, and even Diddy's facial expressions. Headlines were relentless. Cassie exposes Diddy's dark truth. Freak-off footage shakes the court, and star witness testifies against music mogul. These weren't just news cycles, they were cultural touchstones. The footage, the testimony, the walkout by his daughters, every element turned into viral sound bites. Talk shows debated the implications. Morning segments asked whether this signaled a reckoning not just for Diddy, but for the entire entertainment industry. Online, hashtags like Justice for Cassie and Diddy Trial surged across platforms, pulling in millions of views. Reddit threads with hundreds of comments speculated on the timeline, while TikTok creators broke down every courtroom development like forensic analysts. Journalists began revisiting older allegations and incidents long buried or dismissed. Claims of violence, past lawsuits, and even whispers about Combs' relationship with Kim Porter. The deeper the public dug, the more the media followed. What was once dismissed as rumor now had a paper trail of lawsuits, NDAs, and anonymous sources willing to speak. And with every new article, the pressure mounted, not just on Diddy, but on institutions that protected or ignored the signs. Corporate sponsors were asked whether they would still support artists like Diddy. Networks debated if his music should still be played. And even legacy publications, once hesitant to cover celebrity legal drama, now had no choice. The weight of public scrutiny had become impossible to ignore. Behind the scenes, the music industry is feeling the quake. What began as a personal case is now shaking the very infrastructure that once held up Sean Combs as a cultural titan. Labels that had previously celebrated his legacy are now reconsidering their public ties. Bad Boy Entertainment, the label he founded and once made iconic, has gone uncharacteristically silent. Executives who once praised his influence now issue no-comment statements. Industry insiders report that streaming platforms are quietly evaluating whether to demote or remove curated playlists featuring Diddy's music. Some playlists have already vanished. Sponsorships and brand deals are being renegotiated or pulled entirely. One source noted that a major liquor brand tied to Combs halted all collaborative campaigns pending further legal developments. What was once a brand built on aspirational luxury is now associated with public scandal. This isn't just about one artist, it's about the ripple effect. Up-and-coming artists tied to Diddy's ventures are now navigating an uncertain future. PR firms are scrambling to separate their clients from the growing controversy, and publicists are working overtime to revise statements, cancel appearances, or downplay connections. Even award organizations, including the Grammys, are facing criticism for past honors. The BT Awards, long considered a celebration of Black excellence in entertainment, is under fire for continuing to platform Diddy during previous controversies. That retrospective lens is burning, and it's not just on him. It's on every executive, label, and sponsor who ignored the red flags in favor of profit. The cultural conversation has shifted from admiration to accountability. Young artists are speaking up. Veteran performers are going silent. And the question reverberating through the industry is no longer, did he do it? But who helped cover it up? In this era of Me Too and digital transparency, silence is no longer sustainable. The music industry is on notice, and the cost of complicity is rising. This trial is more than a legal battle. It's a reckoning, a story of power, manipulation, silence, and control. It's about what happens behind closed doors when fame becomes a weapon and love turns into fear. Cassie's voice, once silenced by fear, is now echoing in courtrooms, headlines, and living rooms across the world. And as the jury deliberates, one thing is certain: the truth, once hidden, is finally being heard. But will justice follow? For Diddy, the legacy he built now sits on a crumbling foundation. For Cassie, this may be the first real step toward healing. And for the public, it's a sobering reminder that even the most glamorous lives can hide the darkest secrets. Stay tuned. This story is far from over.